A lot of people ask us what are the areas that are oversupplied or at risk of oversupply for roomy houses. And we keep seeing for the first time in maybe 10 or 15 years, we are now seeing areas that used to be great to do this type of accommodation that are finally starting to become oversupply or at risk of getting oversupplied. And this happens all across the state. So not only in some smaller regional towns, but also on some major metropolitan Melbourne suburbs. We are starting to see some of these properties now provide accommodation for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4% of the size of these suburbs and the size of these towns. Now, whether 2 or 3 or 4% of people should live in a roomy house, well, that's actually sort of an individual choice of each of those. But what's true is that we're starting to see suburbs with hundreds and hundreds of roomy houses. And if you think about each of those roomy houses probably have somewhere between 7 and 9 people living in them, then you're starting to see a risk of oversupply. However, if we have the high quality product, if we have the top product in that market, if we have the kind of product that we design, where we have studios, self-contained accommodation, each one with its own Ensuite and each one with its own kitchenette, then we're a lot more resilient for oversupply. We're a lot more resilient when we compete with the rest of the product in that market. It doesn't mean that we would like to go to a market like that, but the right design and the right quality of the product ultimately provides some protection, not only for oversupply now, but more importantly, for oversupply into the future. We have seen high cash flow rooming houses the moment in areas with oversupply, but if the product is the right product, if the product is high quality, and if it's priced correctly, we're seeing a lot of those properties still perform. However, there are suburbs where we will never build one of these properties, where we will highly recommend investors don't go. And sometimes not even the actual suburbs, sometimes it's the individual street or the actual block, sometimes it's a particular pocket that actually makes a difference. Only way of knowing that is to going through a pretty solid feasibility study, to having a look at the tenant mathematics, which are the 3 key factors that determine whether an area is the right area to invest in a roomy house.